I need to tell you something that I have never told anyone publicly. 35 years ago, on a summer evening in July, I was driving near Pancharevo Lake outside Sofia, Bulgaria. We stopped the car. Above Mount Vitosha, something was hanging in the sky. A large vertical ellipse of pure light, not a plane, not a star, not anything I had ever seen before, or have seen since. We ran back for cameras. By the time we returned, it was gone. 2 days later, local newspapers reported dozens of calls, people describing the same thing, a large vertical ellipse of light above Vitosha. Nobody believed them. 35 years later, the United States government opened 162 classified files on exactly these kinds of encounters. This is what's inside them, and this is why they're telling us now. December 16th, 2017. Most people were finishing their Christmas shopping, buying gifts, wrapping boxes, living ordinary lives. And then, the New York Times published a story that quietly broke the world. The Pentagon, they revealed, had been running a secret program. Not a conspiracy theory, not a fringe website. The Pentagon. Officially funded, officially classified, officially denied. Until that morning. It was called AATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. And it had one purpose: to study objects in our skies that should not exist. They spent $22 million studying these objects. $22 million on something they claimed didn't exist. And alongside that story, 3 videos. Footage captured by US Navy pilots, gun cameras, military-grade optics. Objects moving at speeds that violated every known law of aerodynamics. No wings, no exhaust, no engine signature. One of them accelerating from a dead stop to hypersonic speed in under a second. The Pentagon confirmed the videos were real. They didn't explain them. They didn't try. They simply said, yes, these are ours. Yes, we don't know what they are. The question was never, do these objects exist? After December 2017, that was settled. The question became something far more uncomfortable. Who knew? For how long? And what were they so afraid to tell us? So what exactly did AATIP collect? What's in those files? Not the videos they showed us, the ones they didn't. According to researchers who obtained materials through the Freedom of Information Act, the program documented hundreds of encounters. Military pilots, naval vessels, ground radar stations, objects tracked simultaneously on multiple systems, infrared, radar, optical, all confirming the same thing at the same time. Something was there. The reports described objects that demonstrated capabilities our best engineers still cannot replicate. Instantaneous acceleration, no inertia, no G-force effects on the craft, hypersonic velocity without a sonic boom, transmedium travel, moving from air to water without slowing down. And perhaps the strangest detail of all, objects that seemed to know they were being watched, changing direction, responding to pursuit, behaving. One classified report described an encounter off the USS Nimitz in 2004. Commander David Fravor, 20 years in naval aviation, he saw an object the size of a commercial jet hovering above a churning patch of ocean. Then, when he descended to intercept, it accelerated toward him, stopped, mirrored his movements, and then vanished, gone from every sensor, in under 2 seconds. Fravor later said, "I want to fly it." Not fear, not denial, fascination. But here's what the documents also reveal, and this is the part that rarely makes headlines. The program didn't just collect footage, it collected effects. Pilots who had close encounters reporting unexplained medical symptoms afterward. Disorientation, memory gaps, radiation-like burns. The program had a medical component. They were tracking what these objects did to human beings. That is not the behavior of a government studying weather balloons. That is not the behavior of a government studying Chinese drones. That is the behavior of a government that encountered something it did not understand and was quietly, methodically, terrified. Here is what they don't want you to realise. This didn't start in 2017. It didn't start in 2004. It started decades before most of us were born. June 24th, 1947. A civilian pilot named Kenneth Arnold was flying near Mount Rainier in Washington state. He saw 9 objects moving through the sky at speeds he calculated at over 1,700 miles per hour. This was 1947. The fastest aircraft on Earth at that time could barely reach 700. He described their movement like a saucer skipping across water. The next day, every newspaper in America used the same 2 words: flying saucers. The United States military noticed. Within weeks, Project Sign was created, then Project Grudge, then Project Blue Book. Official government investigations into unidentified flying objects. Running for 22 years, collecting over 12,000 reports. And then, in 1969, they shut it all down. Announced there was nothing to see, nothing to investigate, case closed. But here is what they didn't announce. The same year they closed Project Blue Book, a classified study called the Condon Report quietly concluded that some cases, 17%, could not be explained. 1 in 6 could not be explained. They closed the program anyway, and in the FBI files, buried in the declassified documents, there is a memo, dated 1947. The subject line reads, "Flying discs." And beneath it, a request to investigate whether these objects posed a threat to national security. 79 years before the Pentagon released those 162 files, the question was already being asked. Behind closed doors, in classified memos, by the same government that told you there was nothing there. There is a pattern, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Every time a credible witness comes forward, a pilot, a soldier, a government official, the same thing happens. Their career ends. Their reputation is destroyed. Or they simply go quiet. In October 1966, the FBI sent an internal memo directly to J. Edgar Hoover. The subject line, unidentified flying objects. Inside, witness reports from police officers, military pilots, and government officials, describing metallic craft that hovered in complete silence, that disrupted electromagnetic equipment, that left scorched earth beneath them when they departed. And in several cases, witnesses reported seeing crew members landing from the objects, between 3 and 4 feet tall, wearing what appeared to be spacesuits and helmets. These were not drunk farmers, not conspiracy theorists. These were sworn law enforcement officers, active military personnel, government officials, people whose job was to tell the truth. And then there was Lieutenant Colonel Philip Corso, a decorated Korean War veteran, former member of the National Security Council under President Eisenhower. He claimed that after Roswell, recovered technology was quietly distributed to American defense contractors, that the integrated circuit, the foundation of every computer, every smartphone, every piece of modern technology, was reverse engineered from recovered materials. He wrote a book. He testified before Congress. And then he died. And the government said nothing. There was Dr. Edgar Mitchell, sixth man to walk on the moon, Apollo 14. In 2008, in a radio interview, he stated plainly, "We have been visited. The UFO phenomenon is real." NASA distanced itself immediately. Mitchell was retired. His words were dismissed. And then there was Bob Lazar, a physicist who claimed to have worked at a classified facility near Area 51, called S4. He described craft. He described propulsion systems based on element 115, an element that didn't officially exist when he first described it. In 2003, element 115 was synthesized and added to the periodic table. They named it moscovium. Nobody apologized to Bob Lazar. The pattern is always the same. Witness comes forward, witness is discredited, files are classified, program is shut down. And years later, quietly, the documents prove them right. This is the question nobody is asking loudly enough. 162 classified files, suddenly released after decades of denial. Why now? There are 4 theories, and none of them are comforting. Theory 1. Controlled disclosure. The government has known for decades, and they have decided that the public is finally ready. Not because they respect us, but because the information is about to come out anyway. Better to control the narrative than to lose it entirely. Theory 2. The China factor. Multiple governments are now tracking the same objects. China, Russia, the United Kingdom. If America doesn't acknowledge what it knows, another country will. And America cannot afford to look like it was hiding something that everyone else is already discussing openly. Theory 3. Distraction. Release something extraordinary, something that dominates every conversation, every news cycle, every dinner table, while something else, something more immediately dangerous, happens quietly, in the background, unnoticed. Theory 4. They need our help. The objects are still out there, still being tracked, still doing things that nobody can explain. And the government, for the first time, genuinely doesn't know what to do. So they tell the public, not out of transparency, out of desperation. None of these theories require the government to be honest. None of them require them to be wrong. All of them lead to the same place. Something is happening. They know what it is, and they have decided, for reasons we may never fully understand, that now is the time to let us see just enough. 162 files were released, but here is what nobody is talking about. 162 is not everything. The United States government has been collecting UAP data since at least 1947. That is 79 years of files, 79 years of reports, 79 years of classified programs. And they released 162 documents. Do the math. What's missing? The Roswell files. Not the weather balloon story, the real files. The ones that describe 3 bodies recovered from the wreckage in the New Mexico desert in July 1947. Those files have never been released. The Los Alamos files, America's most classified research facility, where 11 scientists died or disappeared under unexplained circumstances between 1947 and 1952. No investigation, no explanation, no files. And then there is a document dated June 1947, marked Top Secret. The title? Relationships with Inhabitants of Celestial Bodies. Written by the United States government, 1 month after Roswell. It discusses, in calm, bureaucratic language, the legal framework for making contact with non-human intelligence. They were already planning for it, in 1947. The FBI file on Albert Einstein contains 1,427 pages. They watched him for 22 years. And buried inside that file, a single reference to his work on propulsion systems of unknown origin. Einstein was asked to consult on recovered materials. He declined. And that page was classified for 40 years. So what are they still hiding? The answer, based on everything we know, is this. Not the existence of these objects. That ship has sailed. What they are hiding is what happened after contact. What was said, what was agreed, and what was given or taken in return. We started this story above a lake outside Sofia, a summer evening in 1990. A vertical ellipse of light above Vitosha. Gone before anyone could prove it. 35 years later, the United States government has confirmed that objects like that have been tracked, filmed, studied for decades by the most powerful military in human history. And they still don't have an answer. Or they do have an answer, and they have decided we are not ready to hear it. Here is what we know for certain. These objects are real. The United States government has confirmed this. Multiple governments have confirmed this. Military pilots with thousands of hours in the cockpit have confirmed this. Here is what we don't know. What they are. Where they come from. What they want. Whether the question of what they want is even the right question to ask. In June 1947, a classified government document asked how humanity should prepare for contact with non-human intelligence. That document is now 79 years old. We are still asking the same question. And somewhere, in a building without a public address, in a program without a public name, someone already knows the answer. They have known for a long time. The files are open, some of them. The question that remains is not whether they exist. The question is, what happens when they decide to stop hiding? Subscribe, because this is only the beginning.